Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope everyone here in the USA had a lovely Thanksgiving, but here's something that should help you empty out your stomachs. What the actual shit? So a couple of years back, I looked at the entire Bubsy series. You can catch the video on the card on top, but short and to the point, in case you're crunched for time, his series sucked. There were no real high points, there were problems that just snowballed into oblivion, culminating with the worst of the worst Bubsy 3D on the PlayStation 1. And after that fiery train wreck, Bubsy was safely presumed dead, and for over 20 years, that was the case. In late 2015 though, the first two Bubsy games were re-released on Steam under the Bubsy Twofer package. $5, I guess you could do worse, but I think your money would be better spent on an indie title that most likely give you more bang for your buck. Bubsy being re-released was one thing, but little did we know this was just a small teaser of what was to come. The Bobcat goes over 20 years with nothing new, and then suddenly Bubsy, the Woolies strike back, a new 2.5D adventure developed by Black Forest Games. Never heard of them until this game, but their previous works included the Guiana sisters. I've heard of these games at least, never played them, but I didn't hear anything particularly bad about them, but they just kind of exist, you know? I think they were originally supposed to be like the female counterparts to the Super Mario Brothers. Who knows, might be worth looking at later down the road. Surprisingly, this game is still under Accolade, which I honestly thought was a dead company after Bubsy's initial run, but the logo doesn't lie. Evidently, the brand was revived after they were purchased by Billionsoft, a holding company based in Hong Kong. Clearly, they must have thought Bubsy's name still had some worth, and you know, given how much internet personalities have utterly trashed Bubsy throughout the years, yours truly included, maybe they thought there was no such thing as bad publicity and wanted to make a quick buck? That's ballsy if that's the case, but fucking hell, $30! The Twofer compilation, 2 games, was $5 and you're selling the new game for $30? Let's make things clear now. This game ain't fucking worth $30. Let's get things started. Bubsy's back at home, probably doing some deep personal reflecting, and then suddenly his arch enemies, the Woolies, crash land on his house and steal his prized golden ball of yarn, because I guess he has nothing else worth living for. Bubsy's determined to chase down the Woolies to get his ball of yarn back. I don't know, maybe I was expecting a little more given the blatant Star Wars homage in the subtitle, but the Woolies end up doing nothing more than what they already did in the first game. Either way, that's about it for the plot. Get your golden ball of yarn back. At least we didn't have an obnoxiously long intro like in Bubsy 3D. Seeing as a Bubsy game doesn't set expectations incredibly high to start, to put that very nicely, I think it's best if we begin with the positives. The game doesn't look awful, though it's nothing remarkable. It's basically taking a 16-bit game and making everything 3D. With not much effort placed beyond that, the aesthetics are fundamental, passable, but nothing eye-catching. The soundtrack isn't too bad either, again nothing amazing, but I didn't find it unpleasing to my ears. It's fine. As far as the game goes, well, Bubsy's no longer a confused cornucopia of platformer mascots. He's nowhere near as fast as before, so you don't have to worry about colliding headfirst with just about everything, and the camera is pulled back so that you can actually see what's beyond and above you. He can fall as far as he wants without dying now, and protective power-ups are much easier to come by. His glide is back in action to traverse through tricky obstacles, but it also acts as a sort of double jump now, since he always does this short hop before going into a glide. He can jump on Woolies to defeat them, but now he also has a new pounce attack. He flings forward in a set arc that'll damage anything he runs into, whether it's Woolies or cracked walls that may lead to hidden passageways. Yeah, when it comes to control and whatnot, Bubsy's perfectly fine this time around. I didn't have much issue performing simple acts of jumping or climbing walls. Believe me, for the Bubsy series, that's an achievement. It's just, unfortunately for the Bobcat, the rest of the game doesn't offer much else. The pounce is a neat idea, and one I'm surprised Bubsy didn't have before, given that, you know, he's a fucking Bobcat, but it's clumsy as hell to hit enemies with it on the ground. Don't bother, you're better off just jumping on them. And despite the added amount of defensive shields, the Bobcat still dies in one goddamn hit. You'll have more than enough extra lives to go around, but was a health bar too much to ask for? Maybe an extra hit? Just one? Largely it's a problem during the handful of boss fights. These already go long enough as is, but with Bubsy once again being so fragile, it just makes the battles feel even longer. I mentioned the soundtrack being alright, but the sound design is borderline aggravating, and the main source of anguish is, of course, Bubsy. He just loves to talk, and to be fair, his lines aren't really cringe-inducing. There's even a couple I found legitimately funny.
How am I gliding? I have no idea.
but he just doesn't know when to shut the fuck up. He has a quip for almost everything you do, and God, he loves it when he used the pounce attack.
Double pounce, multi-pounce, ultra pounce.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
I didn't think it was possible to overthrow Gex as one of the most talkative fuck nuggets in the platforming scene, and I know his big mouth is supposed to be one of his most defining character traits, but holy shit, tone it down a bit if you want it to be endearing. What's funny is that I ran into an audio glitch during my second recording session in the second world where Bubsy's lines didn't load at all. It was a moment of relief, because that meant I can actually focus on everything else for once, you know, if there was much else to focus on. This game is barely over an hour long. You'll finish it in no time if you simply go from left to right and jump over shit, the basic fundamentals of a platformer. There's enemies to jump on, but they rarely pose a threat, and most stage hatches can be simply glided over. I think they were expecting you to explore these levels and find every single ball of yarn, but I didn't bother with that. First of all, the amount of yarn to find in each level is absurd. I'd rather go for the 100 coin shine sprites in Super Mario Sunshine. Secondly, there's nothing else to collect in this game besides these balls of yarn. If it's not a defensive shield, it's yarn. It doesn't do anything except make a number go up. Every level has these 5 keys scattered throughout the stage, but the only thing they unlock when you grab them all is a vault that contains more yarn. No extra moves, no extra stages, just more yarn. You can try to finish a stage without dying or something like that to check these boxes off this obligatory list, but there's literally nothing much else these levels offer other than, yeah, you get it at this point. As a result, the stages are remarkably unfulfilling to complete. By the third stage, I got tired trying to grab all these yarn balls and decided to just complete the stages as normal as fast as I could. To give the game some credit, I did find it sort of exhilarating trying to speedrun through these stages, but again, because Bubsy dies in one hit, I couldn't get much out of that playstyle either. On one hand, this is easily the best game in the Bubsy series because it does away with a lot of mechanical issues I had with the previous games, and because it isn't an unfinished college project like Bubsy 3D. I can respect the effort given trying to give Bubsy new life and maybe, you know, not be such a fucking embarrassment. On the other hand, it is fucking laughable they considered this worth $30. No, hell no, this shit is barely worth 10. It's perfectly functional and doesn't disgust me on a level like the past games did, but what's here is a very basic platformer that sure has a solid foundation, but the structure is made for some of the cheapest plywood money can buy. You can do much better with $30, especially on Steam. Wait for the winter sale if you have to play this, but no, just don't waste your time. But apparently this isn't the last we'll see of Bubsy. According to the end credits, Bubsy will return someday. I mean, if they improve upon this game and make completing levels worth a damn and add way more levels on top of that, I don't see the harm. Is that really so impossible, seeing as the Bobcat came back at all in the first place? Who fucking asked for this? Nobody did, and yet here he is. So while he's here, I guess he can try and make the most out of it? I don't fucking know. Well, it is the holiday season, and before I head into the Donators Marathon, I got a couple of games left to look at that might make for some decent holiday gifts. Speaking of holiday gifts, this coming weekend, the folks over at Pixel Empire will be having their Black Friday sale, 50% off everything in the store, and you should check it out. They got a lot of shit besides just t-shirts. Check the website in the description below and see what they got in store for you for this holiday season. But here's the real kicker for something like my store specifically. On top of the 15% off you can get from the Black Friday holiday sale, you can still use the Johnny15 15% off discount code on top of that. Good timing too, because I have a new shirt to unveil to you guys. Fans of my Let's Play channel, the Super Gamer Brothers, may remember our playthrough of LA Noire. Well, in celebration of that game's remastered re-release, and because we plan on revisiting the game, because the Let's Play is a personal favorite of many, I give you Cole Phelps t-shirt. Special shoutouts to 64bits for designing the shirt. I'll leave a link to his channel in a card up top in the description below. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate that. It's a great looking shirt. Finally, even after all that, from now to December 18th, the Pixel Empire and I got a giveaway for you guys. It's another raffle sort of shindig. One lucky winner will win an SNES Classic, with 4 runner-ups winning $50 gift cards to the Pixel Empire store. As always, there's a couple of ways you can get raffle tickets. You can sign up to the Pixel Empire's newsletter, the social media channels, you can subscribe to my channel. If you want the best chance though, you can buy some merchandise from my shop. I greatly appreciate it if you do that. Again, that raffle ends December 18th. Best of luck to those that enter. The SNES Classic, it's a sexy motherfucker, I'll tell you. And I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate the holidays than with some 16-bit gaming. Either way, I'll catch you guys in the next review. Thank you for watching, have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care.